Snakes. You either think they're the most fascinating creatures on the planet, or, downright disgusting. Either way, we humans bow down to the boas of the world because not only are they bigger than us, that they're also stronger for sure, and probably hungrier than us too. In fact, there are more than 3,000 varieties of snakes slithering around the globe, and the biggest serpents? Well, let's just say they put the garden snake in your backyard to absolute shame. Malaysian Snake. A humongous reticulated python measuring 8 meters in length was captured at a Malaysian construction site. And how big was it? The Malaysian snake was longer than 5 grand pianos, a pickup truck, and almost as long as an adult giraffe standing on the head of another giraffe. It was even longer than Medusa. In 2016, construction workers who were in the process of building a flyover on the popular tourist island called for emergency services after spotting the snake under a tree. Unfortunately, the excitement was short-lived as the python died a premature and controversial death. The sudden death of this great-sized Malaysian python, which came just 3 days after it was found, raised a lot of controversies regarding the manhandling of a reptile. According to a video that was first uploaded by a local news channel, a man was seen kicking the python. However, authorities have categorically denied and reported the fact that the python died on her own. It is believed that even longer snakes could be living in the Malaysian wilds. In 1912, a python found and shot on the island of Sulawesi was reported to be 10 meters long. Furry green snake. A creature that can best be described as a furry green snake was found in a swamp in Thailand, baffling locals who'd never seen such an animal before. The furry snake was found in the Sukhon Nakhon province of northeast Thailand by a man named Tu, reports news website Tiger. The 49-year-old man spotted the creature while walking home late last month and carried it back in a jar to show it to his equally confused family members. The family kept the 2-foot-long snake in a container filled with water and fed it small fish while they waited for authorities to identify it. I've never seen a snake that looked like this before. My family and I thought it would be useful to let people find out what it is and research about it. Tu's niece, Warapon Panyarasan, 30, quoted. Miss Panyarasan took some photos and videos of the snake which she posted online, asking for help in identifying it. Many on Facebook compared the creature to a dragon, while some suggested that it could be a snake with moss or algae growing on its back. Sam Chatfield, who is a snake species coordinator at Wildlife ARC, an organization that rescues and cares for injured animals, agreed that the creature could be a puff-faced water snake with algae growing on its scales. The scales are on top of skin and mostly made of keratin. It's like having a layer on top of the skin, and when they shed, they're shedding the outside of those scales, she said. Flying snake. Ever heard the idiom, when pigs fly? It doesn't mean that pigs can actually fly, but it's used to convey something that could never happen. Now, what if I say, when snakes fly? What would be your reaction? Firstly, it doesn't make any sense, and secondly, that could never happen either. Well, you'd be surprised to know that there is some truth to the statement. The flying snake might not fly in the traditional sense of the word, but it can most certainly glide in the air. It doesn't have any wings to make this possible, but uses its own body to fly, and it does so by flattening it as much as possible mid-flight. This makes the snake a lot more aerodynamic and allows it to glide easily. It can usually be seen climbing trees and moving towards the end of branches and hanging from them. Once it decides on a direction, it'll leap off the branch and onto another tree branch and so on. They can sometimes even cover 100 meters in just one flight. Pretty incredible, right? If you see this one flying towards your direction, don't panic. They're generally not a threat to humans and are considered only slightly venomous. Brazilian Anaconda. Out of all the creatures that we've talked about, this 33-foot-long anaconda is the craziest thing you'll watch today. In 2016, construction workers in Brazil stumbled upon a terrifying mega monster near the dam construction site in Brazil. The huge reptile, which weighs in at a whopping 63 stone, was discovered by the workers after they carried out a controlled explosion in the cave. This incredible footage shows the enormous body, which approximately measures 1 meter in diameter. After making the frightening discovery, the workers chained this Jurassic-like creature to a crane and later lifted off from the rubble, a move which was severely criticized by wildlife experts. It's believed that this giant beast may have died in the explosion, possibly being hit by falling debris, as its head appeared flat in the footage. Until now, it's not clear whether the anaconda was actually dead when it was found or if the workers intentionally killed it. Two-headed snake. You might find something like this inside a witch's hut deep in the forest, a two-headed snake used for black magic or some diabolical ritual. But their existence in nature is less to do with curses and more to do with development. Similar to Siamese twins, these two-headed snakes have a similar story. During the fetal stage, the snake develops into two identical twins in one body and is born as such. If it can happen with humans, it very much can happen with animals. A snake breeder in Florida found this two-headed snake and brought it to these vets. They were pleasantly surprised when they found out that the snake doesn't just have two separate heads, but also two different hearts as well. I hope this guy lives for a long time since they're incredibly rare in nature. Congo giant snake. Tales about enormous snakes are very frequent throughout the tropical regions of the world. Sensationalist news, sometimes anchored on dubious witnesses and unclear photos, appear frequently in South American and African newspapers. These assertions, however, aren't viable in an encounter chronicled in 1959 by a helicopter pilot flying in the Congo region. Colonel Remy van Leerde, who lived from 1915 to 1990, was a Belgian pilot who served during World War II in the Belgian and British Air Forces. In 1959, as full colonel, he commanded the airbase at Kamina in the Belgian Congo. While there in the Katanga region and returning from a mission by helicopter, he encountered a giant Congo snake emerging from a hole as he flew over the forests, describing the snake as being close to 50 feet or 15 meters in length, earning its place amongst the largest snakes ever reported. Upon the incredible discovery, he then turned around and made several passes over the snake at a lower altitude in order to allow another person on board to photograph the creature. Van Leerde claims that as he flew lower for a closer inspection, the snake rose up approximately 10 feet, giving the impression it would have attacked the helicopter if it had been within striking range. "I feel and I'm convinced if I'd been in its range, it would have struck at me," Colonel Leerde confessed. He later described the giant snake as having a dark shade of green and brown with a white-colored belly and claimed the snake's head was 3 feet wide and that the jaws were of a triangular shape. Van Leerde is considered a reliable eyewitness and his testimony is convincing. His depiction is very realistic and familiar to snake experts. On an episode of Arthur C. Clarke's mysterious world entitled Dragons, Dinosaurs and Giant Snakes, Van Leerde claimed it could have easily eaten up a man. Multiple experts and zoologists analyzed several of his pictures of the giant Congo snake and have verified them as authentic. They verified the size of the serpent by comparison analysis to the ground features around the snake. Three-eyed snake. A three-eyed snake found slithering down a road in the northern Australian town of Humpty Doo has sparked amusement in a country already accustomed to unusual wildlife. Rangers dubbed the unusual serpent Monty Python after finding it on a highway in late March. X-rays showed all three of its eyes were functioning and the extra socket lightly developed naturally while the snake was an embryo, the Northern Territory Parks and Wildlife Commission said. Wildlife officers told the Northern Territory News the 40-centimeter or 18-inch carpet python was about 3 months old and died after about a month in captivity. "Until today, I'd not ever seen a snake with 3 eyes, David Penning, an assistant professor of biology, told Live Science. "I've seen snakes with 2 heads and some odd facial deformities, but nothing quite like this." Earthquake snake. Fabricating a sensational story is quite easy these days. You just need a laptop, a bit of rudimentary skill in image manipulation using something like Photoshop and a bit of imagination. And thanks to the internet and social media, a lot of unverified news gets easily circulated. The end result is a fake story which gets a lot of traction and possibly upsetting the less discerning internet users. A similar story happened in China when a man released this image to the public. A seemingly massive snake slithering across a hillside with hundreds of bystanders casually looking at the spectacle from the side. The story accompanying the image stated that the recent earthquake in Yibin, which claimed the lives of 12 people and injured 134, was resulted by this monstrosity. You would think that this image would be easily dismissed as an obvious fake, but sadly that wasn't the case. The image stirred up the public and caused a bit of panic. The authorities who caught this news soon took matters into their own hands and detained the man behind this whole incident. When asked why he did it, he said he just did it for the fun of it. I guess he never imagined the story to pick up to the level it did. Hopefully the man learned his lesson after this. Titanoboa. Love them or hate them, there's no denying that snakes are an impressive bunch of reptiles. Have you ever wondered what species of snakes are the longest in the world? Meet Titanoboa, the world's largest prehistoric snake that grew up to 50 feet in length and weighed as much as 2,500 pounds. That's as long as a semi-trailer you see on highways and about twice as heavy as a polar bear. At its thickest point, Titanoboa was 3 feet wide, which is longer than a human arm. Titanoboa is a shockingly recent discovery. The story of its reappearance began in 2002 when a student uncovered a fossilized leaf on a visit to the massive coal mine in Colombia. Scientists believe that this beast ruled tropical ecosystems only 6 million years after the demise of the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex. In 2012, a giant replica of this extinct Titanoboa was unveiled at Grand Central Station in New York, and it's satisfying its big appetite by eating a whole crocodile in just one bite. So if you had the terrifying experience of staring into Titanoboa's mouth, you would be no exception. It could kill you before you even had a chance to scream. Wessie. A snakeskin found on a picturesque riverbank in the northeast United States belongs to an anaconda, the latest twist in the baffling story of Wessie, a supposedly enormous snake that has become a local legend in the town of Westbrook, Maine. Sightings of the snake began in June when a woman filed a report with the Westbrook Police Department claiming to have seen a snake as large as a truck with a head the size of a basketball. Soon thereafter, a late-shift police officer patrolling near the first sighting saw a large snake eating a mammal, possibly a beaver, and on August 20th, a man walking along the Presumpscot River stumbled across the molted skin of a 12-foot-long snake near the other two sightings. With each sighting, the mystery deepened, and the local community's fascination with its new strange mascot grew. Clothing stores began selling Wessie-themed shirts. One local brewery even made a special edition beer in honor of the snake. It's kind of picked up steam with each sighting, and the social media thing has been big, says Westbrook Police Captain Sean Lally. A lot of people have taken it as a light-hearted thing, kind of like our Loch Ness Monster. As media buzz grew, Westbrook officials sent a sample of the snakeskin off to John Pelkick, a biologist at the University of Texas at Tyler, for genetic analysis. Pelkick then sequenced the skin's mitochondrial genome and found that it belonged to an anaconda, a shocking find that officials announced. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do tell us in the comment section which one of these scared you the most. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you all next time.